Dear students, today we are going to start with the chapter The Last Stone Mason. Stone mason is a worker who carves the stones and makes out images, idols out of that stone. What will happen to a dying art? Will it survive the last stone mason? Let's see. The young man flung the hammer and chisel to the ground and cried, "I'm leaving, father. I'm leaving you and this work. Look what it's brought us." The young man, he threw the hammer and the chisel in his hand. The chisel is a sharp pointed object which is used to carve the stones. He cried out that, "I'm leaving you, father. I'm leaving you and this work, because it has not brought anything to us. It hasn't given anything to us." He spread out his arms and glanced disdainfully at the small congested workroom, the slabs of stone and marble stacked in one corner and the old cot covered with a pile of used clothes in the other. He spread out his arms. He threw his arms apart and glanced means looked disdainfully, looked disappointedly into that workroom which had a slab of stone, which had some marbles piled up in a corner and some used clothes. The whitewashed walls were stained by many monsoons. That means the walls had been whitewashed since ages. There were stains of whitewash. The window, bare of curtains, opened into a tiny backyard. There was only a single window, bare of curtains, means there were no curtains on the window, which opened into a tiny backyard. After all these years of work, this is all we have. Nothing. This kind of work just doesn't pay. He was irritated. He was angry. He told his father that after so many years of hard work, this job hasn't brought anything to us. It hasn't given anything to us. The old man stared at his own son in astonishment. Although his voice trembled, it didn't lose its usual gentleness. "It's not only the money that matters, son. It's the service, our service to God." The old man looked at his son. He stared at him in astonishment. He was surprised at the behavior of his son. Though his voice trembled, he was shivering. Yet he was very gentle when he spoke to his son. He was very soft. He said, "It's not only the money. We are doing this job because it is our work, it is our service to God." "Father," the young man grunted impatiently. Again, he got irritated. "Times have changed. The stonemason's work has changed too. You can't live on sculptures for temples only." He said that with the passage of time, everything has changed. Even the work of the stonemasons have changed. The work of stonemasons is not the work only for the idols made for temples. You have to mass produce like all the others in Agra. "Come on, father." He told his father, "Let's move on. Let's go to Agra. There is a lot of work over there. We must also produce a lot over there. We must not work for only temples, making idols to be worshipped." The lines around the old man's mouth tightened, means he showed his displeasure. "No, my son, this is the work I learned from my father." And he learned from his father. "We have kept up this tradition for hundreds of years, and I hoped you would continue our work." He said, "No, I won't go to Agra with you. This is our ancestral profession. My father taught me. I learned it from my father, and I hope the same from you, that you would also learn the same from me and earn the money through this profession. We have kept up this tradition for hundreds of years." He said, "For hundreds of years, our ancestors and I have been working in this profession, and I hope that you would also do the same thing." "No, father," the young man replied with determination. "There is much more money in ashtrays and plates for tourist shops. I'm tired of working for a pittance for the committee of the temple in Srinagar. I'm leaving, father." But the young man, that is, the old man's son, he was not in favor of this. He told his father, "No, I am determined to leave this place." He said that there is a lot of money. I can earn a lot of money by making ashtrays, which is used by the smokers, and the plates for tourist shops. He said that I am tired of working for a pittance. Pittance means I am tired of working for small amount of money for the committee of the temple of Srinagar. I am leaving, father. The young man stormed out of the room, leaving his old father crouching in front of a half-finished marble statue whose shape already suggested its future magnificence. The young man moved out quickly from the room, left his old father, who was crouching, means who was sitting half bent in front of a half-finished marble statue whose shape showed that it would be a magnificent, a very good, a very big piece of statue. He dropped his hands into his lap and closed his eyes. He began to pray and didn't even hear the hesitant goodbye his son called out from the door. He sat motionless, unaware of time and place. The old man was disappointed. He dropped his hands and closed his eyes. He just prayed. He only kept on praying. He didn't even listen to the goodbye which his son said to him. He sat motionless. He didn't do anything. He was unaware of the time. He didn't know what the time was, where he was. Masterji called Salim, the servant boy, entering the workshop barefooted. And suddenly he heard the voice of his servant Salim, who called him Masterji, and entered barefoot, without any foot. He held out a glass of steaming tea in his hand. Masterji, he asked once more, his voice filled with concern. Salim was the servant boy of the old man. He called him out, Masterji, and brought a glass of steaming tea. He was very much concerned about this old man. The old man looked up. His face was ashen. Ashen means colorless, pale. He looked old and very tired. He beckoned the boy to come closer and motioned him to sit down. Beckon means he asked him to come closer to him and to sit with him. Salim, he said gently, soon I will be the last stonemason. He told him that soon he would be the last stonemason. All the others would have gone to Agra. There they are turning out cheap candle stands, paperweights, and ashtrays by the dozen. They are making money, but they betray our skill, our age-old tradition. He said that in that town he would be the last stonemason who carves the idols, because the other stonemasons are going to Agra to earn money by using this profession in making cheap candlesticks, candle stands, paperweights, ashtrays, and other things. They are betraying. Betraying means they are cheating people by using their skill. Now Gopal has also gone. Who is Gopal? Gopal is the name of this old man's son who has gone. I'll have to finish this sculpture alone. He said that I'll have to finish this image, this statue, all alone. My son has also gone to Agra to earn money. And with the help of God, I'll do it, Salim. He said, but God will help me. And I'm sure, Salim, that I will complete this statue. I know you will, Masterji, the boy answered. You'll make many more, larger and more beautiful temple sculptures. And Salim showed his faith. He showed his trust. He said, of course, Masterji, I know you will complete this statue and you will make many more beautiful statues like this. The old man looked at the orphan boy who had come to work for him 5 years ago. Drenched to the skin, dressed in tatters, he had begged for shelter during a furious monsoon storm. Now the old man looked at Salim, the servant boy. He remembered that he was an orphan boy. He had come to him years ago. He was drenched. Drenched means completely wet with rain. And he was dressed in tattered clothes. And he begged for shelter during one of the furious monsoon storms. It was raining heavily when Salim had come to take shelter in the old man's house and had stayed on to work for the old master craftsman. He had grown tall and strong. The old man knew that Salim too would leave him one day. Now Salim had grown up and he was tall and strong. But the old man knew it very well that one day he would also leave him. He sighed and looked into the serious eyes of the boy, clouded with sadness, a sadness the old man could not understand. He sighed, means He just had a heave, a sigh of relief, and he looked at Salim. He saw that there was a certain kind of sadness in the eyes of Salim also. He shook his head. My strength is waning. I can't work with the chisel like I used to. Carving takes too long, much too long. The old man told Salim, he said that my strength is waning, means it's fading away. Now I am growing old and my strength is decreasing day by day. And I cannot work with chisel as I used to because carving takes too long. Have you seen how the idols are made perfectly? They are given a shape. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Everyone cannot make a statue. So he said, my strength was ebbing, going away. Then he straightened up and said with fresh determination, I'll have to finish this work, and surely I will. And then he sat straight. He was determined now. He said, I have to finish this statue, and I will surely finish it. Yes, you will, the boy repeated. And Salim said, yes, of course, Masterji. I know that you will complete this statue. He offered him the tea again. Drink, please. It will do you good. Then he added, I have to go to the market for an hour or two, but I'll be back in time to prepare dinner. Salim again told him to have tea. He said that he needs to go to the market to bring certain things and he would be back very soon. The old man nodded and thought, he has been going to the market too often lately. I hope he hasn't fallen into bad company. The old man wondered that Salim is going to the market very often. He thought that he must have fallen in a bad company. He shot a questioning glance at the boy who turned and left the room. He looked at him questioningly. He wanted to put up a question to Salim that where he was going and why he was going. But Salim left. The old man sighed and picked up the chisel and hammer. The cool metal of the tools filled him with happiness and confidence. He loved his work and didn't want to change it for any other in the world. When Salim went away, the old man stood. He sat, picked up his chisel and hammer. He looked at the tools and again was happy and confident to work because he loved his work and he didn't want to change his profession. He didn't bother what Gopal had said. Days and weeks went by. It was a month since Gopal had left. The old man worked tirelessly. From morning till late at night he worked on the sculpture. It was all there in the stone, the strong, straight shoulders of Krishna, his soft curved hips. He could see the pointed fingers holding the flute delicately to his lips, his serene face eternally beautiful. Days went by. It was now 1 month since his son Gopal had left him. But the old man, he kept on working on that sculpture. Now that sculpture, that statue was taking a shape of Lord Krishna with a flute in his hands, very beautifully carved. He could see that the pointed fingers were holding the flute. It looked very serene. Serene means very peaceful and very beautiful. The old man could see it in the stone. He could feel it. He only had to set it free with his chisel. Now, the last step was left. That was, he only had to bring it out in a proper shape. He didn't feel hunger, he didn't feel thirst. He was driven by the desire to finish the sculpture in time. It was his biggest piece, his best. It would also be the last. He was so crazy, so mad about his work, so hard-working that he didn't feel hunger. He didn't feel thirst. He kept on working on that sculpture. It was his biggest piece, his masterpiece rather. And he thought that perhaps it was his last work of craftsmanship. On and on he worked, his chisel striking the stone again and again. But then came the day when the old man felt his strength ebb and his hands tremble under the impact of the hammer. He kept on working, his chisel striking the stone again and again. But one day he found that his strength has decreased and his hands had started shivering. He could see the effect of his shivering on the hammer. His shoulders began to ache, his arms felt heavy, and his eyes grew tired. All of a sudden, his shoulders began to pain, his arms felt heavy, and his eyes also grew very tired. Then his vision blurred, and he could not see the shape of Krishna embedded in the stone. Then suddenly, he couldn't see clearly. Blurred means not clear. He couldn't see the shape of Krishna carved up in the stone. Embedded means carved in the stone. Overcome with fear, he sank to his knees and prayed. And he was now fearful that something is going to happen to him. He prayed to God. Master Ji, Salim said, you haven't touched your food again. Please have some rice and vegetables. You only had a glass of milk for breakfast. And have the curd. You like curd, I know you do. And again, Salim came and told Master Ji, you haven't touched your food again. He again asked him to have rice and vegetables. He knew that the old man liked curd. The old man looked up. He whispered, I don't think I'll be able to finish it. If Gopal was here, it would be different. And the old man now told Salim what he was thinking. He said that I feel that I will not be able to complete my last masterpiece. If Gopal, my son, would have been here, then it would have been completed. He nodded absent-mindedly to himself and continued. He wasn't the best of craftsmen, but he was good and strong. He chipped off the stone layer by layer, as if it were clay. He hadn't yet learned to carve the finer details, but in a year or two he would have learned surely. The old man even took side of his son. He said that I know that he was not the best of craftsmen, but he was good and strong. He knew how to chip off, how to take off the stone layer by layer, though he hadn't learned how to carve the fine details, very minute things in the stone. But I know that he would have learned it with the passage of time. He fell silent. It was the features and hands that gave him trouble. There was something missing in his figures, that something which can be taught. He said that I know that he had to learn certain things. There was something which was missing in the idols which he carved, in the statues which he carved. And that thing cannot be taught. That is, the one who is artist from inside can make beautiful paintings, right? Everybody cannot make beautiful paintings. The one who has that art from within only can make a perfect painting. Likewise, Gopal was not very much interested in making idols and statues. That's why his statues were not very good statues. Because it comes from somewhere deep inside you, Salim whispered. From deep inside here, and he pointed to his heart. And Salim answered, he said, yes, I know what was missing, the thing which comes deep inside from your heart. The old man looked at the boy surprised. He saw him blush and turn his face away. The old man was surprised at the answer of Salim. He looked at him. You are right, Salim, you are right. And then he added with sudden bitterness. He said, yes, you are right, Salim. And then again he spoke. The old man said with bitterness, and if you don't have it here, he thumped his chest, then you would better go to Agra and mass produce ashtrays for the tourists from abroad. Then the old man coughed painfully and reached for his glass of water. He said, yes, if you don't have that art which comes within from your heart, then you must leave this job and go to Agra, where you can earn a lot of money by making ashtrays for the tourists. And suddenly the old man coughed. Eat, Master Ji, eat. Everything will be all right. Salim again told his master to have some food. After he had eaten, the old man once again took up his hammer and chisel. He worked till late in the night. He prayed for help and strength, and he prayed for his son. In the early hours of the morning, the chisel fell from his hand and the hammer dropped to the ground. The old man ate something and again started working with his hammer and chisel. He kept on working until the chisel and hammer fell from his hand. He kept on praying for his son too. His old body sagged, falling forward limply. Sag means his old body, it was like it fell down and he fell limply. he bent and he fell down. His forehead struck Krishna's flute and slid down the statue to rest on the pedestal. His head touched Krishna's flute, the statue which he was making, and then his head rested on the pedestal. Pedestal is the base on which the statue rests. "Hi Ram," he muttered, and sank into a comfortable darkness. And he fainted, saying, "Hi Ram." When he opened his eyes, he found himself lying on a cot in his bedroom, covered by a light cotton blanket. He had fainted, and suddenly, when he got up, he found himself on a cot, on a bed, and he was covered up with a light cotton blanket. That is a cover sheet. From the workshop, the chipping sound of the chisel reached his ears. He listened. Had his ears deceived him? No, he could hear it again, the strong blow of the hammer on top of the chisel. When he woke up suddenly, he could hear the hammer and the chisel. He was just taken aback. He was surprised. He couldn't believe his ears. He was just wondering. He was thinking, who was working on his statue? He wanted to see that in his absence, who was it who was working on the statue? What did he think? He thought that his son was back. Gopal, he was back. Gopal had returned. He would help him. They would finish the statue. He thought that his son had come back and he was working on that incomplete statue. He at once thanked God. He thought that he had come back to help him and that they would finish the statue very soon. He stumbled to his feet, crossed the small room and reached the door. He tried to stand on his feet and reached to the workroom. Gopal, he was about to shout when the words froze on his lips. No, he wanted to cry out, stop the work. He wanted to say Gopal, and suddenly, the moment he saw something, his lips froze. He wanted to say stop working. But he couldn't move. Shock had immobilized him. He couldn't say anything. The shock, the surprise has immobilized him, means had stopped his movement. He stood staring at the back of the young stone carver, working on the face of the statue, on the eyebrows, arcing over a pair of fine eyes. He couldn't speak anything. The moment he looked at a young carver who was working on the eyes of the statue, very finely, beautifully. It wasn't his son sitting cross-legged before the biggest statue he had ever carved. It was Salim, his servant. It was not Gopal, his son, who was working on that statue, but it was Salim, his servant boy, who was carving those eyes. The old man watched stunned. Stunned means surprised. The first wave of shock, fear, and anger passed. He was surprised. He was continuously looking at Salim. "Hi Ram," the old man whispered. "Hi Ram," and tottered over to the boy. Dropping his hand on his shoulder, he said softly, "Salim." And suddenly he said, "Hi Ram," and tottered over to the boy, moved to the boy. He put his hand on his shoulder and said, "Salim." The startled boy turned and looked up at his master. He rose to his feet clumsily, very slowly, the hammer and chisel still in his hands. As he rose up, he was also surprised that his master had seen him. The hammer and the chisel were in his hands. "Salim," the old man searched for words. I only wanted to help," whispered the boy. I'll learn if you teach me, Master Ji. I have practiced secretly for almost 2 years in the quarry." What did Salim say? Salim couldn't speak anything. He said, "Master Ji, I will learn this art if you teach me. I have been learning it, practicing it very secretly for almost 2 years in the quarry." Quarry means the place where the stones are kept for carving. "I am a Muslim. I know I should not carve the image of God. But isn't that this different, Master Ji? I am carving a sculpture. Aren't I? He said, I know that I am a Muslim, Masterji, and I should not carve a Hindu god statue. But that's completely a different thing. Just see how nicely, how beautifully I have carved the sculpture. And isn't I? A beautiful sculpture that has different meanings for different people. Isn't it so, Masterji? He said, I have carved a beautiful sculpture, beautiful statue, which has different meaning for different people. He asked his Masterji, please tell me, for many years I wanted to become a sculptor, yet I fought the feeling. He said, Masterji, I always wanted to become a craftsman, a sculptor. But I always neglected my feelings, but it proved too strong. I know there is nothing in this world I would like to do more. There is nothing in life I could do better. Will you please teach me, Masterji? He told Masterji, said that I know that I cannot do better than this. I know that this profession, this job would be the best one for me. Will you please teach me, Masterji? The old man pulled the boy's head against his shoulder and whispered, there's nothing I can teach you, my son. Go ahead. You have it in your hands and in your heart. I know you will be one of the country's finest stonemasons. And the old man was very much impressed by Salim. He pulled him near his head and said, I cannot teach you anything. You already have it in your heart. You are already a craftsman. Go ahead. You have it in your hands and your heart. Complete this statue. I know that you will be the country's finest stonemasons. So that's the chapter. Hope you have understood it.